exporting without it going
the licenses come, or the registration.
Shabba.
Yeah, the registration comes out and you can. That's why America have their own license registration. Yeah.
On the screen we've got registration. There guys, on the screen we've got the definition of registration, one of them, so you can read there.
I haven't got that far.
Obviously you're good against
Ownership, yeah. I don't know dictionary stuff in the Black's Law, that's all PDFs, but
What are the best Black's Law books?
when you use a Black's Law book, you need to look at the year that you are, if you're looking at a law from 1800s, then you need to look at definitions and implied meanings from the dictionary that was from that time to understand the implied meanings and definition. But they will be different from 1860 to 2018, so you need to decode it with the correct law at the time using what you use.
So, if you're using the Bills of Exchange Act 1882, you really need a blank section fraud.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. There we go. So can you see that on the screen then? So what is register? It says there what capacity. It says what capacity there, right, what is register, which a king has by virtue of his prerogative. Hence owners or countries, Palatine, were formerly said to have jura, you got some Latin there, regalia. And registration contains the word, the fixed R-E-G, regalia, jura, regalia, in the counties as fully as the king in his place. The term is used in the same sense in the Spanish law, seeing there's a bit of case law there. Some writers divide the royal prerogative into majora and into minora, regalia. The former included the regal dignity and power, the latter the revenue of fiscal prerogatives of the crown. Fiscal prerogatives of the crown, there you go. Fiscal is financial, isn't it? It's what they're after, the debt, the equity, the equity thief. So you look at the word record and look at the word register. Record and register, two different jurisdictions in two different areas of which they use. So to register is, I believe, of the land, and to record is the maritime admiralty section. So you know that's the way that it goes. So you have the bill of sale for your private conveyance, which is the automobile, the vehicle they classify it as legally, you classify it as lawfully your property. Now you need to fill in that form apparently, and you need to send it off to be legally compliant. But it's not you, the body and the flesh, the man, the Holy Trinity, the woe man. It's actually the person who needs to comply, and that's where we've been going wrong. So we've had this instrumentation. We've had the person to hand, and then we've been wearing the mask, which is called the persona in Latin. So the language of the law is Latin. We use Anglo-English, commonly known as Babylon, baby long time, Babel, and the judge says we utter if he doesn't hear the language, or we don't meet him at the correct jurisdiction, or get him compelled, or we are mixing jurisdictions, and we may have three jurisdictions in there. Trust and equity, public, private, common law, contract, all on one body of words, and so therefore it won't stand. We write what you mean, But unless he can hear you, then and he can see you, he will give you clues, or they will give you clues sometimes. They will say, I can't see a trust, I can't see what you're saying, I can't hear your words. And they're like, oh, well, what jurisdiction does the court lie in the moment then? You know, things like that. That's how we get to manage the person and the scenario. So you have the bills receipt for the property, and then you fill in the V5 logbook, and you apply the equitable signature endorsement of the legal person, your straw man, because the straw man is dead and can't sign the all caps name and the lowercase private. But when I deal with this stuff, I believe it's the all caps, your driving license and things like that, as you find on your documentation, NHS and things, your bank card, all your finance and things to do with bonding and money and commerce and equity are capitalisation, which I believe is connected to us, which is to do with the Vatican, foreign citizens, you know, international. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm not fully explored it all. But then you've got the CQB of 1666, which is the birth certificate and the registration to the land, which is I wrote down here the 1066 land tenure. I read something out in a video about that not so long ago. I found that land acquisition. I did get it from Wikipedia, but there are other ones you can get from publications and find the actual land acquisition, but that goes on about the property and the processes of which have been applied over the years up until present day. 1066 Doomsday Book and stuff like that's referenced in this 1066 land tenure. Property we are classed as on the land registry, I believe, as well. So it comes through that's something that's been picked up within the last year. So it isn't clear yet, and we haven't got a lot of answers or remedies, but we've got direction and structure, and we can say whom they are, how they operate, and this property you've got the receipt for. Maybe you wrote down, like on a bit of paper, the actual amount and sale. Like you buy some property, and you're buying it off, say, someone from Gumtree or equivalent marketing online Spock or something, eBay, and you've gone round, you give them $1,500, maybe $5,000, up to $10,000. It could be a classic one or whatever. And you give them the money, you've done the deal in the private, you get your paper, both of your names are on there, you sign it, registration, VIN number, all the applicable data, how much it was, the date, you both sign it, it's written out by man, it's signed by man, so you've got a bill of sale there, a legal and lawful bill of sale. So that's identifying you now by the title deed, well, not so much title deed, but the bill of sale. You've got a document that's recognised as the owner. Therefore, you go away and then you fill out that other legal document, which is not so much lawful, and that's the one that transfers the right of the title of the property. And when we explored that and found out that by putting the equitable signature on and endorsing it and using the all caps and not separating any of the liability or doing it by set law, is in the acting in equity, you'd put that on some documents, and I'll show you when the cameras are off, some templates we've got for A for V that I've got, and that I've found out how they are signed and stuff, and how you do that. When we say by set law, that tells the establishment. When I registered that to Anne, I did fill in a V5, but I said, it does say on the V5 logbook, if you have got a different relationship, if you are not the registered keeper and you have a different relationship, please specify. So I did, and I put down set law, and I can't remember now. I did what I needed to do, and I signed it by set law, and I ticked the box of other, and I put authorised representative and agent on. And I took a photocopy of it, I scanned it all, and I sent it off, and I still got a V5 back standard sent back. But I did it so I can, with the receipt and some clever moves later on with trust, maybe putting it into a resin, like making my missus the owner and registered keeper, and I be the driver. So that if I'm the driver, we live at the same house, and it's her property, and she's the registered keeper with the legal system, and then we change that. No, we could leave it as me as registered keeper, and in the private I could set a trust up and transfer the title over to our lass, and then on the legal side with the DVLA, Mr. David Jeremy, to all caps, is registered legally responsible as the public trustee with possessory title. I did have full allodial title, but when I signed it, if you sign it without, like I say, putting set law or without reserving your liability and rights and not waiving any, then you've handed that over. So you've gone from full allodial title as set law and property owner to somebody with what we would say maybe has possessory title only, like a credit card relationship. It's not your card, you don't own it, you've signed an agreement, they've sent it you out. If anything ever happens, they want that card sending back. but you've got access to it, you've got ownership of it, but you've only got a certain type of ownership, you know, responsibility. So it's very interesting, because when she mentions about the baby, you would think that the property is yours, you know, and when you find that out, you're like, okay then, so that's quite serious. If you take your child out of school and you're not in term time, or you've got, you know, certain things, harm, injury and loss and neglect and all that, that's terrible, needs dealing with, that's common law. But with regards to, I want to go away, we've got a sick member of family, they might be dying in 3 months, they live in Australia, me and our kid are going away. Oh no, you can't go away. Why? Because it's in term time. And what? Yeah. It's like,
By the edge.
that's what we've been asking, that's what we've been looking at, and that's where...
Yeah, and as soon as you deregister them from the school, they don't give a shit.
Really? Andy, would you like to speak? Yeah. He's homeschooling, he's got some relevant information, so I don't want to go on all day. He's here to help and support, so sit down or stand up, whichever you want to do. Respect. That's going good. Still on, nice one.
So deregistering now. To deregister, I've got to ask,
I'll deregister.
you get asked for forms, is there any things out there that we can fill out? Everything that we write needs to be written by our own fair hand, our own mind and our brains. It started a couple of years back for me. I've got 4 children, 2 of each, and my first 3 children with the education system. They've gone on to do okay in life, you know, they're all standing on their own 2 feet, I'm very proud, and it is what it is, but 3 of the children, they're from a previous relationship. I've now got custody of those children, and I've got a 4th, which is with my partner I'm with now.
Too much longer. School wearer.
Yeah, so... Oh, good. She's 14 soon, and it all started when she was 12. She was coming home from school, getting sent home from school, crying, belly aches, pooing irregularly, all sorts of girly problems that we may have put down to, it could be girly problems, you know, if she's of a certain age at the moment, things are changing, biological, chemistry. So we had a few letters, we had a few discussions with the school, and a few phone calls on the phone number that you have to register with them for emergency only. I was getting numerous phone calls on this line with personal grievances from teachers that she isn't this or she's late or whatever the case may be. And she's gone to school one morning, and it's an autumn day, and she's tripped over one of the curbs in the playground, which you couldn't see because all the leaves had fell off the trees, and you couldn't distinguish the curb from the path like. And she simply slipped down with the foot going to the side, and it's pulled that tight that the tendon cut through a bone.
Wow!
I know.
So, once again, they've rung me up and I've shut down there, but they've got an ice pack on her shin. Oh, we think she sprained her ankle. So, I'm like, okay. So, we took her down the A&E, and it turns out that it's the story that I've just told you. The tendon has cut through the bone, and she's got quite a significant lump on the side of her foot now. She got a bit of a funny look, it pulls my family friend, I'll tell you. So she had it in plaster for so many weeks, and physios afterwards and such things. So, in accordance with their policies and procedures and protocols of uniform, that they're to wear a certain type of trousers, they're to be bought from a certain shop. Hello.
True.
Everything to have a blank is under certain criteria. Now, she had everything. I always endeavour to see that they have the correct equipment for the day, you know, so it is how it is. So after this foot injury, and she's took the plasters off and whatnot, she's got a blatant lump in the side of her foot now that sticks out now where the bone hasn't quite healed correctly. And for comfort reasons and other such things, I've allowed her to wear some trainers to school. They're black leather, they've asked for black leather shoes, they have no brands, there's no big white ticks or, you know, there's nothing out of the ordinary. Oh, they warm me up and my stomach goes. So they're ringing me up on my emergency number. She's got the wrong shoes on here, Mr. Williams. Oh, is that right?
What?
Oh, right.
She's got the wrong shoes on. The wrong trousers, Gromit. That's what it is.
And I'll deal with it in process, you know. A couple of days later, she says, it's a summer's day. We're into the summer, and the kids are all going into an assembly, and you have to have your blazer on. It's a part of their protocol, and there's 3 kids coming to school today, and they're lads. They're naughty lads, we know what they're like, and they've only got the shirts on. Anyway, they've been allowed to go into the assembly and carry on about the day. My daughter's in the queue, and she has on her person her blazer, but it's in her bag because she's sweating, it's hot, you know. She's going through this thing, like I said, with a stomach problem. She's semi-diagnosed at the moment with Crohn's disease at this stage. So she's in and out and up and down, the thing with her feet, and I got the phone call from the school, she's got the wrong this on, she's wearing wrong that, and so she's been noticed basically now, because the attendance is dropping off slightly with her hospital appointments and this, that and the other. So they've rung me one day and they've said, well, we've asked Lucy to put a blazer on. She's got it on her, but she's refused. Right, I'm going to come down then, so I went through the story, and the head teacher had said to me, you know, get your blazer on. And he said, she said to me, is that a request or an order?
She knows you well.
It's in front of the other children, you see, so she's correcting what she's doing, but she's had herself noticed now, so is that to say in front of the rest of the whole of the assembly that no, we can't order you, it's only a request? And she said, well, I'd like to respectfully decline your request. As you can see, it's very hot today. So with that, they've immediately sent her out of the room. Another assistant head or deputy head has come to her. Right, because of your actions today, you're going to have to come through a break time detention. If you don't do that, you're going to come to a dinner time detention. If you don't do that, you're coming after school detention. If you don't do that, you're suspended. If you don't do that, I'm going to expel you. All for carrying a blazer and a bag. I'm like, she's told us on the phone. I'm like, hello, get the teacher on, hello. So the teacher's come on. I said, do you realise the dress that you're putting up on my property? Property? I said, yes, Lucy, my property. She's the fruit of my loins with my vested interests. I created her, and she is in my possessory rights. I am her father. I say what goes, right? So they say, well, if she's going to wear these footwear, we need medical consent. I said, is that right? Lovely job. So if I take her to the hospital today, if I take her to the GPs today, before anybody looks at her foot, whose consent do they require? Mine. That makes me the authority. She is my property, and you need to prove and quote me otherwise. And it was at that point that I'd done the deregistration and brought her from the school. And as you say, the local council have sent us one letter to confirm and clarify which way you're going to go forward. So that way that they're trying to get agreement taught and tacit again, contracts, because they're compelling you to do what you're writing down now. And it comes from that video just now of the SS. If you don't then perform what you've written, they'll come and take them. So
Don't know anything. It's fucking simple.
that's how it is. Yeah.
A form to what?
So-
To the right, nothing. Oh yeah. Well, there you go, I don't have to do anything.
So what you're saying then is by unregistering them, putting them out, it's effectively telling that education house that loco parentis has ceased. They don't need to do it anymore.
This is astonishing.
They don't have it anyway, they only have a duty of care, much like a hospital or any other organisation, because they're a private corporation now. You know, they have that duty of care. And they were saying to me that, well, we've heard that you're taking them from the curriculum because of how strict we are on things. I said, well, can you bring forth any reports for Lucy for her behaviour or any misconduct, any equipment missing or anything? She says, no. I said, exactly, because I'm stricter than you. You're not here to discipline, you're here to educate. If my property requires disciplinary action, you should write that down, clarify it to me, and I will deem them to do what's fit at the time. And you're getting the roles mixed up.
Detention, military.
To detain, that's what I said to them. So if you're detaining my property, are you then insured out of school time to take my property as prisoner, you are now, she is the
I was like,
detainee,
go on, lad.
you are an officer.
Yeah.
Do you have that correct capacity and jurisdiction over my property?
What a dad. What an absolute dad.
You tell me.
John Rolls and acting outside of them.
Exactly that. So,
Aren't you?
necessarily, well, she's not your property. She's not your property. I said, oh, what exactly what is your subject today within that establishment? Oh, I teach English. I said, good, what can you speak of the law? Hello? You still there? That's right. Under the laws of trust and equity, she is my property, and I can prove it to you. And until that you can prove me otherwise, please stop using my emergency number to tell me that she's got the wrong shoes on. That I've given her authority to do, which I've just proven to you. I have the authority. Anybody requires my consent to deal with my property, including yourself. If you wish to put your name on a piece of paper to say that you are above me and sign it, we will then do business. Until this day, I still home educate. So.
Yeah, home educated. You have to prove
Yeah,
that. You have to prove that you're.
So you're now on the risk, haven't you?
1 minute, Malcolm, and he's just
Sorry,
decided gentleman next to
sorry.
him, and then you can do next. Go on. So that again.
You have to prove that like, you're fulfilling your obligation to home educate the child.
To whom?
So, yeah, no.
To, I don't know, the council or.
Who are they?
That's fine, yeah.
Social services, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but if you've not written anything down, then you've got nothing to prove to that.
That's what I'm saying. They'll try and get you to write things down. They'll try and compel you to your actions. But like I'm saying to you, only by doing that, then you are then giving them your authority
Yeah.
through your own acquiescence. You're not realising it through taught and tacit.
Doesn't the law state that you have to give an education? It doesn't actually state what that education is.
No, the law don't state, but Acts and statutes state that education isn't school. School isn't education.
Well, go on.
Indoctrination.
Exactly.
It's written there in their own rules. I don't call that the law. The laws for me come from nature. They shall be light after dark. Simple things, what goes up must come down.
It's like signing something to say
Don't do wrong. Don't do wrong, don't.
Andy, where do you stand, please? And if you know, for argument's sake, she goes back to school after the. Well, no, she didn't go back to school, but they come round to the house. Social services come round to the house with the police in about 3 weeks' time.
I'll tell you a story.
Touch wood.
So, I took custody of my first 3 children.
You want me to stop recording or anything? By the way?
No, I'm 44 years old. I spoke about these things for the first time
I
12
know.
years ago. Still good. When I took custody of the children, little did I know, they was actually living with my mother. My estranged girlfriend had given them away to my mother, and I wasn't allowed to see them. I was alienated and all these types of things. So, at that time, because when I was a kid, I've grown up in now different systems and societies, and I've been pushed around pillars and posts. I used to go on the social services register when I was a child. Okay, so my mother, knowing the services, also called these services to come and see my children, knowing that she was to get some benefits from the services. Can you hear me? It sounds a bit rude, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
When I took custody and won on the day in court, 25th of February 2001, within 3 days of having my house, social services were at my door. 2 ladies with fact folders. Open the door. Hello. Oh, we're here to see the children. So I don't recognise you, are you? We're social services. Well, I haven't called you. Well, these children are at risk register.
These children are what, sorry?
Are on the at risk register.
Wow.
2, 4 and 5 years old. You could have knocked me over with a feather. I was almost speechless.
Wow.
At which point I says, well, that's lovely to know. I've got a court sealed stamped document there that says, oh, I got custody of them 3 days ago. You know, if I require your services, I should call you. Thanks for coming today, and don't bother again. I shut the door on them.
Bam.
And I've never heard nothing to this day that you asked me.
Because if you let them in and you start dealing with them contracted and then you charge them, that's what you should do. Because if you let them in and you deal with any paperwork and you sign anything, you're giving them consent. That's how it starts.
Once
we're on the threshold of the person, once they've been invited, they can then invite themselves.
Vampires.
So, and that's how it works. So they impose themselves upon you, and if you allow it, that they're going to, because they're not there for free today. They're there today so they can pay their bills. And if they don't get a certain amount of numbers on their books this month, they're going to miss out on their monetary bonus as well. You know, the only notice that they only work on their own protocols, procedures and policies that every individual company has. You go to ATS and every car tyre's changed, they'll have a procedure and a policy of how to do that. You go to the social services and they'll have a procedure on how to take your property off you.
And a department.
So if you're not tuned into what's going on, it's going to happen. And that's what the lots of men down here for, to stop it happening.
Absolutely.
You know, so...
Property, children, video, cars, you know, children are more, property, children are more important.
Thank you.
Right, what we'll do, because we'll go for dinner in half an hour, I'll go through some comments with the guys that are at home on Facebook and go through, see what's coming up there, and go for anything that's relevant regarding property and such things as, and with a bit of luck.
Okay, can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
When you put the statements up earlier, you had a previous one, you were talking about logbooks and registration.
Yeah.
Can you bring that page back up? Because it mentions something on the bottom of it. This is a procedure to negotiate ownership or something.
Just shut them down, haven't I? Oh, on the black slow defo. Yeah, you know what you're saying. What is register? Maybe it was that one. Wait there. Could be that one. That one you mean?
No, one before that.
One before that. That must be, what is registration definition? That's the same. That one maybe.
No, we can't let kids be
that one,
part of the state land.
Which land can be
They're not.
registered so that the
That's their belief.
of real
They only have the entitlement, the birth certificate, the bond. If the social services come to your house, they're only entitled to that bond. Passing a piece of paper, the property is not theirs.
So that's legal, yeah, that's for recording entries in an official book. For example, the names of stockholders might be registered in the official books of a corporation. Similarly, motor vehicles are registered with the State Motor Vehicle Department, and voters are registered. Yeah, wow, certainly maybe in elections, yes. In some jurisdictions, statutes establish systems by which land titles can be registered so that the ownership of real property, as we said about the land register, that's what I was in the 1066. Yeah, the legal ownership. So when the state claims, they claim it under land registry. So our estates would more than likely be on the land registry side of things. Yeah, when you're looking at where we are, our estates land, it would be. We thought international bank of settlements, CQV bonds, international settlements type. You know, they probably will deal with them. But as it turns out, through extensive research. The 1066 land tenure up afterwards, and we'll go through APV, some documents, and the DVLA, PCNs. After, well, I can get the land. I'll do a search on the group, and I'll find out what we've got and all the relevant documents. So,
how does a creditor work?
We'll come to that this afternoon because we can't do that in 25 minutes. But it works with the electricity, gas, water, things like that. They bill you, don't they? And you get the bill.
Negotiable instruments.
Yeah, and then you get that, and you possibly offset that because when you pay with when you get your wallet open, you get your paper out your wallet and you pass it across. That's just a promissory note. So the A for V is a promissory note exchange, offset, discharge, endorsement, whatever, and all of the above. And you're using a drafted promissory note, which is different to the sweat equity promissory note that we have in the wallet. These ones are no good. This paper, and they've done a good job on it, but that's all it is. And if you run out of that, that's when you're in the brown smelly stuff. There is another way, and it's not the end of the world. So this relationship, you are a beneficiary of the service by receiving the gas and electric and water. You're also a trustee by having to pay the bill. So again, you've got the triangle. If you are both that one and that one, it collapses the trust. In the trust, if I make a trust on you and you assign beneficiary and trustee title to yourself, then you will collapse the trust. So there are rules of And that's like a trust, they're an agent and so forth, but we'll cover that this afternoon, more time guys. Not a problem. Can we go bigger, just see what they're saying there, get some feedback, may be beneficial. Was that not? Oh yeah. Equal consideration in equitable affairs. Great work with your offspring, Andy, from Ahmed. Let's get this on here.
Do a quick PC one if you want, Dave.
It's a bit what?
Do a quick PC one if you want.
Yeah, I just want to not like neglect. What are you doing here?
Wasn't banned off Facebook.
Something weird happening, but
Keep it banned, right, mate?
There we go. Elgin is a bit fair for you idea of having a few opts in NHS and in past they ask consent waivers. Alright, Wayne will just equal consideration in equitable affairs. Great work with your offspring, Andy Ahmed. They'll understand that SPL's Pro is the only way to go. I haven't received a pop-up at all. I got the link off Steve, okay? Don't talk to me about links you've had a month or that. I can't believe it, but well done. Steve, I have only just got whatever, yeah. Steve is, that's a private chat. What are you doing, guys? Steve Valentine looking good, Dave. He's going to get some knuckle, isn't he? Later. Oh, well, Zippity-Doo-Dah's cancelled. He's had some problems, yeah. John Middleton. At the end of the day, if we're going sovereign, you have to come every agent in the reality in my eyes. You have to come out every agent in reality. Yeah, you are an agent in office. You're then your legal instrumentation stuff like so. You are handling your agents with agents. So when we take power of attorney, appointeeship, like I've done with Stan, Clarissa, the lady from Barnsley, Jack Woodhead's family, then that lady with appointeeship power of attorney, and she doesn't have to risk joining and contracting and get I'm working for this side, so confusing, but it's the way to keep it clean, and it's the way of the op, which is agency, the driving vehicle licensing agency. So you see there's a clue there, and not to be facetious, sarcastic or whatever, but that's how we evidence it. It's just so you know that where we get, how we link it back up again. Ahmed, in that babysitting example of an express trust, I would have thought the baby would be property resident of the beneficiary, and as such the trustee would be instructed to look after the beneficiary's property for said time. I'm looking at all this from the point of view that one holds all for the three positions in a trust. As in this example, I believe all three could be held by a creator of trust, obviously with co-trustee. Possible, yeah, but that's complicating it.
Split title.
Yeah, the split title and things like that, but we're just keeping it simple as a triangle example with regards to the having a drink, going to the pub, the babysitting one, or forgetting your money, going to a petrol station, filling in a note, promising to pay, coming back later on. It's another idea of a promissory. So it's a triangle, but respect, I mean, yes, you can have different types of trust set up with different, as I said, with the utilities bill, you can't be trustee and beneficiary of that trust, that implied or constructed public trust, so you're getting two titles there. That would collapse a trust. When you express that, then you correct the correct trust title, and you would be the debtor creditor, but you would say you're the settlor and you are the one with the estate and the title and all of that. So the debtor creditor we've looked at, and yeah, the A for B's promissory notes. I'm no expert on it, but we can look at that later on and go through what we've got and see what we've got here. John Middleton asked to put car in a deed trust as living man cannot, corpse. Yeah, that's why whenever you deal in equity, it's in personam that translates to. So yeah, living man, not a corpse. Yeah, corpse fictions and entities can't use trusts like that. They do other constructed public statutory ones, of which you're aware of, and have got downsides, pitfalls, don't always perform to how they should. The CEOs pay themselves massive amounts of money, suicides happen, 450 deaths, blah blah. It's getting to a point where somebody really has got to do something and get this information out, and how they are doing that. Trustees running around unregulated, without applying to the trust itself. They're unconscionable acts. John Middleton, like getting exactly the same for your mortgage when you're saying that promise to no, but they landed back to the double identity. Yeah, they will get back in. That's a massive thing to cover. We'll just say the comment. The system is full of routing. What's that say? Can't see what that says. It's routing knots. Yeah. Ahmed, for those who don't bring something to eat for lunch, there's a chip shop down the road, it's open, wow, look at this, bro, I'm so glad you left a comment, Ahmed, keep the fist bump. A chip shop down the road, it's open, you'll be pleasantly surprised how cheap it is if prices are... Ahmed, what's the road name? Give us a road name, thank you for that, brother. Peace and love. Zip says thanks. Manic's still in my way home now, so Zip's got home all right. Yes, Sister Sarah's in. And Schofield front seat near at the zoo. No comment. Probably. 45 minutes, yes, come back about 2 o'clock, we'll say 2 p.m. We'll aim for another 3 hours after you encapsulate these three things, these other subjects here, and that'll do, I think, yeah. Thanks, guys.
Oh, like if you you're not going to vaccinate, then they try and get you to
Yeah, well,
admitting liability to be negligible. So you just say thanks but no thanks, I'm not signing anything. Take care, Steve.
Ciao Bello, see you in a bit guys, we're breaking for dinner.